Bonjour, hi everyone, bienvenue, welcome to the cyber defense stage and to day 2 of the Forum International de la Cybersécurité, one of the most innovative cybersecurity conferences in the world. We are so happy to welcome you to day 2 and the first ever edition in North America. And my name is Akshay Bissoon and I am so happy to moderate this stage this morning. Thank you all for coming. So kicking things off, our first guests are here to explain why the largest independent insurance brokerage company in Quebec relies on Darktrace to secure its sensitive data. Please join me in welcoming Darktrace's Director of Enterprise and Security, David Masson, and Lussier Dale Parzo's CIO and CISO, Akshay Bissoon.
Thank you very much. I just want to say this is a bit weird here because I can't really hear anything. Can you all hear me? Can somebody just nod a load of heads? Oh, it actually works. All right, that's cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Dave Masson. With me today is Akshay from Lussier. And I'm going to ask him a few questions about what it's like using Darktrace. So my first question for you, Akshay, is what were your thoughts about artificial intelligence originally? And now they've actually been using it for quite some time. Have your thoughts changed in any kind of way?
Actually, it is actually weird because we don't hear we don't hear what we say, right?
Yeah, it is.
But you guys hear us, so that's fine. The journey we started 4 years back, and the focus was not AI when we started. The focus was mainly to have a platform that will enable us to have a full visibility on not only the edge, but the network and the incoming and outgoing traffic. And the one piece, which is like was kind of how can I say that? Not a single point of failure, but a weak point, if you will, was everything to do with the email system. So we wanted to have a visibility on the network, the edge, the email system, and we were actually thinking of going to the cloud. So having a visibility of the traffic was a key point. And when we actually started that journey, the main, I would say, interest when actually I got to understand how Darktrace works was first key point was the speed to deployment. At that moment, the market was having a lot of emphasis on the SIM, having a single pane of glass to be able to see everything. And that's what the board wanted. Like, give me a single pane of glass so we understand that you have a full visibility on the network. We didn't go that route, and I was looking for another solution because... sorry?
Well done.
And the Darktrace came in actually at the right moment when they actually said, we will actually enhance deployment. It will take a big 5 minutes for my box to start working. I honestly didn't believe that. So I said, we need to do a proof of concept. And we did the proof of concept. It actually took 5 minutes for them to plug the box on the switch and then start learning from the ecosystem we have. And that was a key point. That key point actually made a big impact on us because first, they delivered on the promise, but the secondly is it's not only AI at that moment, it was mainly machine learning. Because the way actually the box was working was capturing the data that was coming to the switch and then not actually impacting the bandwidth, but plugging from the switch, taking the data and doing some analytics to the data and then giving us the visibility on the network. That was key, and that's how the journey started. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, that's absolutely perfect, actually. Obviously, using artificial intelligence to make decisions about what's threatening on your networks, quite a leap for some people, particularly if you then take action, you allow the AI to actually do something about it on your network. So I'm thinking in terms of what was your board's reaction when you said to them, listen, we're going to trial artificial intelligence on our networks. How did you actually go about explaining that to them?
Actually, I didn't mention AI when I went to the board the first time because they would have been scared of it at that time, like 4 years back. Today, AI is a buzzword. Everybody talks about AI. Everybody talks about machine learning. It's like talk of town. 4 years back, it was not that much talk of town. And you come and saying artificial intelligence to the board, they will look at you as like, what's this about? It's another technology thing. So I didn't want that to happen. So when I went to the board and I explained where we are going, why we need that piece of technology, why we need that platform, what we want to do with it, and what's the awareness that we need to bring, not only to the board, but at all levels of management, down to the employee at the gate, so that we have full visibility on the network, we have a full visibility on the capabilities that we are extending from the IT team to a box that would actually give us an extra visibility, extra capabilities that we don't have today. And from that journey, from that conversation, we had other different conversations to the board, and they actually showed the dashboard, shown what it means, and then came to the understanding that these AI capabilities actually is an extension of your team. It's an extension of what you cannot do. It's an extension of the type of threats that's coming from everywhere else in the world that's hitting your network, that you will never have the capabilities to be able to counteract that. So you need to go and look for that type of material that will actually give you sufficient information to be able to act on and cut the noise from the different types of threats that actually come to your network. So that's actually how they understand AI. The board doesn't understand AI as such or machine learning. What they understand is, what is the risk am I facing? What are the gaps that we have? And what are the risk mitigation strategies that you'll put in place to make sure that we can run safely and we can actually service our clients? That's the type of conversation that the board understands. They don't understand technology. They don't want you to come and well, some of them they do, but most of them, they do not have the time or the space to actually sit back and relax and hear about technology per se. They want to hear about the business. They want to hear how they can compete on the market. They want to hear how then actually you enhance them for market share on the market. So you need to bring that type of conversation to their attention. And it's not about technology per se, it's about risk mitigation. That's what they want to hear about, and that's how you need to bring that type of conversation to the board.
Okay, that was very interesting. I'm not going to bring it back to a subject that probably affects all of us. It certainly has done over the last few years. And it's a little bit about threat landscape. What were your cyber challenges before COVID, before the pandemic? And how have they changed since then?
I would tell you that COVID added another dimension to the landscape, and we all lived it. From the workers coming to the office to the remote workforce for the past 2 years, and now we are into hybrid workforce. I think that pivot of that COVID brought, it just extended the network. It extended the way we should look at our traffic flow. Now we are in a position where the perimeter is no longer the perimeter that you know. The perimeter is about identity. You actually follow the user. You're following where the user is connecting from and the different types of devices they're using to connect to your network. And I think that's where the threat lies at this point in time, is because we have extended the network to the end user. We have extended the network to where the user is actually connecting to the network to actually consume a service or to actually do the job or service a client. So that shift in the way we look at our network, our data flow, is what actually is challenging today for us. And you need to have the capabilities to be able to accompany the client, the end users to that end, and also have the capabilities to service properly your business partners. Because the behavior is not only on your internal clients, when you talk about, for example, insider threat, it's not only about your internal clients, but it's also about your business partners that's working with you. Because the business partners, they are part of your ecosystem. So these partners that you have, if they get into a breach of some sort, they need to be able to tell you. They need to be able to actually make you part of their process as well. It's a two-way traffic on that in business-wise. So this is also an extension as to how you can safeguard, if you will, your digital assets. And you need to make sure that you have that comprehension, you have that understanding that it's not only about your users, your clients, your business partners, and I think COVID has added to that by extending the network to the remote workplace.
Yep, that's pretty much, I expect, the experience of most people and most of the people who are actually here today. Now, don't worry about insider threat. I've got a question on that in a second, right? So just calm down. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. What sort of level of visibility do you now feel that you get from using our AI solution inside your digital infrastructure?
The one thing that I found interesting with your platform is the fact that we can actually onboard it on the mobile phone or iPad or any other device where you can have an app and you can have a full visibility of what's going on. That's one thing, and the notifications that goes with it. The one thing that I like interestingly in your platform is about the AI models that the platform brings. Different AI models that are already built in the platform that actually give you the visibility on different perspectives. They give you the visibility on the data that's being transferred on the network. If somebody is actually doing like a massive transfer of data, you will be flagged. If you have, for example, a connection to a remote connection somewhere else that's not legit because the machine doesn't understand it because it hasn't been part of your ecosystem, this will be flagged. So you have different models like that, what they call AI models, that actually gives you the visibility on a different perspective. And that is the key to me, because I find that when you're actually choosing a platform, you're choosing not only the service that the platform is giving you, but you're also betting on the research work that's behind the scene. The AI research that's going on that is best of breed, that is real time, that is actually bringing you the latest defenses that helping you in the business. Because AI, not AI, but cyber is no longer just a defense mechanism. Cyber is also a business strategy. Cyber is now part of your business strategy. When you're talking, for example, to your executives or to the board, you have to talk cyber in terms of not only like this is the defense controls that I've put in place to make sure that we stay safe, but you also have to say it's security by design, which means that it's part of your business strategy when you're talking to them. They need to understand that when they're actually going to grab a market share somewhere, how you're actually accompanying them in that journey, because you're making sure that the data flow will be safe, you're making sure that the connectivity will be safe, you're making sure that whoever is consuming that service is actually consuming it in a safe way. So that is a shift in mindset that needs to happen.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get the chance, I do encourage you to look at our website, wibbly-wobbly-wobbly.darktrace.com, and look at our research centre blog that's on there. We've got some amazing scientists back in Cambridge who pump out loads of papers on various subjects that never actually become products, and I'd encourage you to go and look and see the sort of research that they do. Mm. Actually, now that we've been here, we're talking about Darktrace. What Darktrace products do you actually have? And which are your favourites? And by the way, if you get a chance, whip your mobile phone out and show them how you can actually run it off from your mobile phone. Oh, you've left it over there, okay.
But it's okay.
What's your products? What are you actually using?
Actually, we started the journey by, and I think you've rebranded that now. At the time it was called Immune System. It's actually mainly traffic monitoring.
Now called Darktrace Detect, by the way. It used to be known as the Enterprise Immune System. And for those in the OT space, Industrial Immune System. Sorry, actually.
So that's where we started. And for me, in a nutshell, what it means is to actually understand the traffic to your network and out of your network. So that was the first piece that actually we started with. And that was the first piece that, instead of betting on a SIM, we betted on that one. And actually, we betted right. The second piece that came in that journey a year later was Antigena, because we wanted to have something that would actually connect to the to Exchange at the time, now Office 365, to make sure that we can counteract, if you will, phishing attacks. And for that, your engine is doing a great job for us, because the links, if you will, to the different websites, they get actually not only blocked, but if they get blocked, they get also reported to that person to say, oh, well, is this legit? Because the machine has to learn at the back end whether this context, this particular link that you're actually clicking on, is it legit in your ecosystem? And when you say yes, and you actually consume the service, the machine at the back end, he actually learns from that experience and then able to actually enhance the business going forward. If it's not legit, the machine will actually, either they have their own knowledge base, they'll check it out and say, well, this is not going forward, they won't give it to you. Or if in the knowledge base they say this is clean, they will actually ask you the question. So you have like two sets of defenses, if you will. The first set of defense is the AI learning mechanism that they have, the knowledge base. The second set of defense is they actually poke you the question, whether this is okay to go forward. If this is okay to go forward, it becomes part of their knowledge base and it becomes legit going forward. And that I think is very interesting. These are two products that we use. We haven't explored other products that you actually came up with, and we are on that journey, and we are still in maturity level 1 to my mind. We are not 2 or 3 yet. There's a long way to go, but I think it's that's other products that we need to explore.
Okay, now we're going to get on to that, your most favorite subject, insider threat. How are you using Darktrace to combat insider threat?
I think the first thing that caught my attention when I got to Darktrace was, instead of actually looking at the traffic coming to you, their main approach, which actually I like to start with, was looking at what I call inside out, which means that they would actually map your network, map your behavior, map the way you actually connect to the different either systems or parts of the world or business partners that you're actually connecting with. And then from that learning experience, the machine will actually map your, what they call the legit behavior. And once you actually deviate from that legit behavior is when actually the machine starts flagging. And actually I really like that, because that actually gives you an idea of the behavior of your people. Whether it's an admin doing a type of maintenance work on your network, whether it's an end user downloading data or pushing data out of your network, you get the visibility of the behavior. And then you can actually poke that person and say, well, what's going on? We actually got one instance where on a Sunday afternoon, somebody was downloading massive amounts of data. And we were like, when the machine flagged it, we didn't understand why. I was like, the admin called me and says, like, I don't think it's right. But that user, we know that user, and we know what the work that person does, but it's a Sunday 3 p.m. That sounds like fishy. So we called that person and said, like, what's going on? And hopefully it was a good thing, because that person said, no, I'm doing such and such and such actions on the network because of. And we said, okay, that's fine. It's legit, you can go ahead. And that machine at that moment, we learned that this pattern of behavior was okay for that time frame. And that pattern of behavior, and I still have to explore going forward, that pattern of behavior, if it happens again, if the machine will actually flag it again. Or we'll say, oh, this is legit now, and we can let that carry on. That piece of it I still have to explore, but I like that moment where the behavior was flagged, and then you can actually understand what's going on.
We were having a chat in the, I was going to say the green room, I think it was the black room that we were actually in. And we had quite a healthy debate about security culture. What would you like to say about that?
The one thing that strikes me even now is we tend to talk a lot about platforms. We tend to talk a lot about all these buzzwords that you hear, whether it's SIM, whether it's XDR, EDR, and whatnot. There's loads of buzzwords and acronyms that people throw around. But to me, in any company that you work for, the one thing that becomes critical to me is culture. I was talking before that it's not only about the defenses, not only about the defense mechanism, it has to be part of the business strategy. And to me, it's critical that from the board level all the way down to all the employees, that culture is taken care of in terms of how do we, each individual in the company has the responsibility of using the data right, properly, and to make sure that they care about the data that they're using. Because these digital assets is what make you work, it's what makes the company profitable, it's what makes us all contribute to the community. So I think that culture is a single piece that needs to be addressed, that everybody on the floor, everybody all the way to the board needs to understand how cyber becomes part of that culture, how it becomes part of your ecosystem, part of the way you do business. I think it's very important that that culture be addressed in those terms, that cyber be part of that conversation.
Looking at the future, I was going to say, what are your security goals now? But we were actually talking about the cloud earlier on. How does that feature and where you want to go in the future with cybersecurity?
I think we have no choice but to embrace the cloud, because that's
right,
a new trend, right? And SaaS-based platforms are out there for a reason. And to be competitive on the market, you can no longer say that you won't address the cloud or you won't use SaaS platforms, because that's the way business is going. So you've got to do that. You have no choice. And that's why, and in our journey, we actually at some point got to the cloud, and we are some workloads in the cloud right now, and we have to still explore the different platforms that are out there, Darktrace being one of them that we would explore in what you're actually offering on AWS platform or in Azure, to see how we can address that piece of the ecosystem. We haven't done that yet.
Well, hopefully you'll do it soon, and you'll do it with Darktrace, right?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
What's been your experience of working with us as a company, as people, you know, as the human part of the whole AI process rather than that? What's been your experience dealing with us as a company?
I'll tell you the first thing that I still remember that even today is, and what actually attracts me is when people actually deliver what they actually sell.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
So for me, that's important, because there's so many vendors out there, so many platforms, and they will promise you so much. But that promise, if you don't deliver on that promise, the problem is us in our seat, we get challenged by the board, because we do investments and we go to the board and we convince them that the investment is right, that this is going to deliver that piece for us because of the risk mitigation strategies that we put in place. And if there's a failure in delivery, we take the hit. The board takes the hit, and then we lose trust. And trust is an important piece in the game. Not only because it's cyber, because trust is an important piece in the game when you're actually having business partners. And why we took Darktrace is because you guys have, first you delivered on the promise. That's the first thing. So the trust has got established. But beyond that is the fact that you've got these capabilities of following the market, following the trends. And we can make sure that we have, if you will, as a quarterback, that you're going to be there for us, and you have the right tools, you have the right technologies, you have the right people, where we need to have a call with you guys, with your team. Like, we have such and such use cases. We want to understand, how do you see the market? How do you see these things? And you guys are there. And for us, it's important because we are in the mid-size market. In the mid-size market, it's very, very tricky because we don't have that much of funding capabilities to keep on putting people on the floor, or to keep on actually adding layers and layers and layers of technology. We need to bet rightly. We need to bet on the right people. We need to bet on the right platforms so that we can have an ecosystem that will last, that will help us evolve as we go along. So that is important for us, and that's why I think your solutions, your platforms, your people, and the research that you actually bring is actually help us in our risk mitigation.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So you've been using our products for quite some time now. You yourself are comfortable with them, and your team is. What would be sort of the main takeaway you'd want people to hear, to take on board, or to understand about literally allowing artificial intelligence to look after you? I mean, like actually having the confidence to say, do you know what? I trust all those algorithms and what's going on there. What would be your main takeaway for the audience?
I would tell you the main takeaway is to do your homework. Don't trust me because I'm telling you I've used Darktrace and it's working. You need to do your homework. You need to do your due diligence. You need to actually make sure you understand your business context and why you're actually betting on such and such platforms, because you'll be challenged by the board. Any of your board members or executives that you'll go through, you'll be challenged by them, because more and more these people, they are more and more knowledgeable. 5 years back, they were a bit taken by surprise, quote unquote, because they were not so much knowledgeable about what's going on in the market. But now, cyber is so much talk of town that they have somebody to actually give them the information. They don't get the information just from you, just because you're saying it, because they're also having people actually advising them, or either consulting companies or other ecosystem that actually they live with. So you need to do your homework, do your due diligence as to what is the ecosystem you have, what are the different strategies you need to put forward for your ecosystem, and what are the different platforms you're betting on and why you're betting on those platforms. And the last piece that you should always care for is about pricing. So you need to have the proper pricing and to make sure that on that journey that you're actually evolving, that the pricing makes sense for you. And not only pricing because the platform is expensive or not expensive, is because there is technology overlap. When you're actually betting on a platform, and then for one particular use case, and you're betting on another platform and another different use case, there's bound to be overlap. Why? Because these platforms, they actually evolve with time, and they see the market, and they want to grab market share, so there's bound to be overlap. So you need to do your homework right, so that when there's overlaps coming in, when you're actually putting products out there and deploying other platforms, that you actually bet on the right thing. So when there's some overlap, it's understood, you know why there's some overlaps, and you know why you're actually betting on certain capabilities that will give you a competitive edge. So that's my take of the homework that you guys need to do.
All right, folks, you've got to go out and do your devoir, go out and do your homework. Normally at this point, I would ask for questions from the audience, but I just realized this isn't really the format for that. So what I'm going to say is do come round the Darktrace booth. We're here all day today. If you've got any questions about our products or what's going on, please come along and ask them. Ask them in French or English or any other language you like to do. Just allow me to say, Akshay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure as always. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time, your patience and your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you later on. Thank you very much indeed. Merci beaucoup.